I'm Ron Patterson with Utah State University Extension in Carbon County. Today we're going to plant onion transplants or onion sets. The method is both the same for each one of those. The other way to do onions is to plant them by seed. In order to do seed in the high country, you need to be planting them late March at the latest to get the seed up and going and get your onions big enough to form some bulbs. So we're going to make some furrows, put some water in the furrows, and then plant the sets. And I'll show you how that's done. Alright, now here I've formed some furrows with the corner of my hoe, and because we live in dry country, we need to make sure we have good moisture in there for either the seeds or the transplants or the sets to do well. If we have dry ground, the roots just aren't going to grow, so we need to make sure that we've got plenty of moisture. I'm using this little soaker thing. It's pretty gentle, slow way of getting water introduced to a furrow. You can use the end of a hose, but it kind of tends to blast things out. If I have a long row that I want to soak, I use my soaker, hose end soaker, and let that soak down into the furrow. And then when that one's full, I just switch it to this other one and let it soak. My ground slopes that way, so I get this slow soaking and let it go, kind of move that direction. So now we'll let that soak in, and then we'll do some planting. Alright, what I have here is onion transplants, which I ordered in, but you can also do this same technique with onion sets that you can get from your local garden center. You may even be able to find some onion transplants from your local garden center. When you plant onions, you're just going to stick them in the ground, and you want them about 4 to 6 inches apart. You don't want to stick them down very deep, because the bulb is going to basically be forming up at the surface. So that's all we're doing, planting these. We can kind of cover those in a little bit if we want to, kind of help that soil moisture stay there, keeping our plants 4 to 6 inches apart, and we will have an onion patch. Nice thing about onions is we use them all the time. You can get sweet onions, you can get pungent onions. It all depends. The pungent onions tend to store longer, so if you want something that's going to last for several months in your storage cellar, then you'd want to get something that's maybe not quite so sweet. But if you get like the Spanish yellow sweet or some of those onions, they'll store for 3 or 4 months in the proper conditions, but not nearly as long as those that are a little bit stronger onions. Only takes us a few minutes, and we've got us a row of onions. Okay, we've about got this patch planted. Now onions can be planted fairly early in the spring. You can plant your sets out and your transplants out in early April. You can probably get your sets out maybe even a little bit earlier than that, because it'll take a little while for them to get going. But typically in the high desert country of Utah, we're looking at the first week or 2 of April as a good time to set out transplants, maybe a week or so earlier than that for the sets. We've got these planted, maybe cover them just a little bit, don't need to cover them much. They're down into that wet soil, and we'll have onions. By late June we should start getting some of these onions to bulb up, and we'll have some nice onions for our salad or whatever we want to have onions for. Those people that like to just eat onions, they could even do that. So there's another way to play in your garden.